Hi, I'm attorney Julie Hauf, and today we're going to talk about Florida's unattended motor vehicle law. There's a few different things that we need to know and some different situations that this addresses. It also gives us some exemptions from the law for certain types of scenarios. So the first section talks about what you need to do before you walk away from a motor vehicle. So first of all, anyone driving or in charge of a motor vehicle can't allow it to stand unattended without first stopping the engine, locking the ignition, and removing the key. So that's the first thing that needs to be done. Next, a vehicle that's unattended on any kind of, they call a perceptible grade, so a tiny hill, even in Florida we do have some of these, you have to first stop the engine, set the brake, and then also turn the front wheels to the curb or the side of the street. Obviously, if the car starts to roll away, they don't want it to roll into further traffic. They'd like it to just kind of get stopped by the curb, or at least maybe off into the grass where it might not come to harm for anyone. So why is this important? Well, if someone leaves their keys in a car and it's stolen by a third party, in other types of scenarios, we would have an argument that there was an intervening criminal act that prevented liability, prevented the chain of causation, so maybe that vehicle owner wouldn't have been responsible for any harm that comes from that car getting stolen. When this statute was passed, the Florida Legislature said that, or made findings, that a car placed in the hands, it's a dangerous instrumentality, in the hands of an unauthorized person, statistically, it is more likely that that person is going to cause a crash or cause some kind of harm to the general public. So for that reason, even though that intervening event might help us in another type of case that someone has committed a crime, therefore we can't be responsible for what happened, because of this statute, that's not the case. Now, like I said earlier, there are some exceptions. The section doesn't apply to operators of authorized emergency vehicles when that vehicle is equipped with an anti-theft device that prohibits the vehicle from being driven. There's an exemption for licensed delivery truck and other delivery vehicles while they are making deliveries. So if that vehicle is parked in someone's driveway for the night, that exemption is not going to apply. We also have an exemption for solid waste or recovered materials collection, so your garbage truck or your recycling truck, while they are collecting their items. So again, something standing in their parking lot, parked for lunch, only while they are engaging in that activity. And then finally, a vehicle started by remote control while the ignition, transmission, and doors are locked. And this reminds me of living up north and wishing that I could start my key on a cold winter morning when I was still inside the house. Maybe here in Florida, it's starting that key and getting the AC, or starting the car and getting the AC going before we get into a hot car. But either way, that is something that if the ignition, transmission, and doors are still locked, that's not going to apply. Why would that be? Well, for that case, there's going to be some extra effort to actually get into that locked vehicle even though it's moving. So all these things we need to consider if we've got a case where someone is saying the owner of the vehicle is responsible for what happened, what damage, what injuries were caused by that vehicle after someone took it and drove away. So biggest thing, make sure you're insured and you take your keys out of the car when you do get out of the car for any reason. Otherwise, you might be held responsible for any injury or damage that happens afterwards. Thanks so much. Have a great day.